Patrick's Day, fellas! Hey, Butters. You guys all look very festive.
Yeah, it's super fun. St. Patrick's Day rules.
If you aren't wearing green, I'm going to pinch the out of you guys. Unless you like this video, in which case I could spare you. Today's list is brought to you by my parents, who told me I should rank the best green roller coasters for St. Patrick's Day. Now, I've never made a St. Patrick's Day video on my channel before, so I figured why not? First, let me state the obvious. What I said earlier was a joke. Don't go around pinching strangers or else this'll happen to you.
What's going on? What do you mean? Looks like someone forgot what day it was. Haha, bitch!
I feel like green is not as commonly used of a color as it should be on roller coasters. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's somewhat common, but nowhere close to blue, for example. With this list, I'm only including rides that are entirely green, not partially green. Therefore, I've got a few honorable mentions for you guys. Fury 325 at Carowinds has blue track with a green spine, so I wasn't sure about that one. For the record, if you did want to include it, it would have been number 1 on the list. Joker at Six Flags Discovery Kingdom has 1 green rail and 1 purple rail, which looks cool, but it doesn't fit the criteria I'm looking for. Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain is in a similar sort of situation where you've got 1 green track and 1 blue track side by side. To me, all these attractions have 50% green track, but that just doesn't cut it. The one I was closest to making an exception for was the green track of Dueling Dragons at Guangzhou Sunakland in China. This is a dueling coaster with completely separate tracks, so if you split them apart, then technically we'd be left with 1 red and 1 green coaster. This one depends on how you look at dueling coasters. If you consider them to be 2 roller coasters under 1 name, then maybe it qualifies. For me, I see it as 2 credits but 1 roller coaster, so I decided not to let it slide. Let's dive into the official list. Number 15, Shred the Sewers at Dream Island in Russia. This is an indoor Intamin launch coaster that opened in 2020, after the COVID-19 lockdowns. It's themed to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, so it sports a green paint scheme, and I think it looks like a really good ride. With it being an indoor coaster, it's only 78 feet tall, but don't mistake this for a family coaster. In addition to a 50-mile-per-hour launch, we're looking at 4 inversions in pitch darkness. Unfortunately, this ride hasn't gotten the notoriety it deserves because A, it's new, and B, with everything going on with Russia and Ukraine, ain't nobody wants to travel here. But hopefully peace prevails and one day I can get out there and experience it. Number 14, Raptor at Cedar Point in Ohio. Probably one of the most iconic green coasters out there, Raptor is a kick-ass B&M invert from 1994. It was the first ride of its kind to feature the ever-so-common Cobra Roll, which is a fantastic element in addition to its 4 other inversions. For being an older ride, Raptor is still remarkably smooth, and it's remarkably intense too. I love how it's positioned right along Cedar Point's main midway, and I look forward to getting on this thing again in a future visit. Number 13, Flying Wing Coaster at Happy Valley Chongqing in China. If you know Chinese coasters well, you know they have a ton of B&M wing coasters. One of those opened in 2017 and goes by the name of Flying Wing Coaster. It's got a beautiful color scheme with a light green track and a well-balanced layout with 5 inversions. To me, it doesn't look like one of the better wing coasters because its elements seem more elongated and there's absolutely 0 near-miss elements. However, a wing coaster is a wing coaster, so I'm sure it's still a very enjoyable ride. Number 12, Parrot Coaster at Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in China. I found it odd when putting this list together that the only 2 Chinese coasters to make it were wing coasters with the same light green colors. Unlike the former coaster, this one has 3 inversions instead of 5, but I think it's got a more balanced layout. Not to mention, the setting of this ride right up against the mountains is absolutely gorgeous and complements the color scheme very well in my opinion. Number 11, Phoenix at Farup Summerland in Denmark. Vekoma's first Wildcat model has an amazingly diverse layout. There's a nice balance of airtime, hang time, and whip, with the only drawback being a lack of positive forces. Phoenix isn't forceless per se, but it was meant to appeal to families, and I think that's what they accomplished with this ride. It's a glossy, smooth coaster with so many fun elements, and it's one of those rides I could lap all day without getting bored. Number 10, TMNT Shellraiser at Nickelodeon Universe, New Jersey. First, we have 2 green Chinese wing coasters, but how about 2 indoor Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed launch coasters? Rather than Intamin, this one is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter and the largest of its kind at that. TMNT Shellraiser gets some flack for being a bit rough, but honestly it's never been much of an issue for me. And even if it were, it's hard to ignore the absolutely awesome layout on this ride. A 62-mile-per-hour launch, 7 inversions, and a 121.5-degree beyond vertical drop are just some of the ride's amazing features. I think lap bar only trains would propel it to a higher spot on this list, but as is, it's a really good coaster. Number 9, Anaconda at Gold Reef City in South Africa. Part of why I was happy to make a video talking about green roller coasters is because it would allow me to talk about rides that I haven't actually covered on the channel before. Anaconda is widely considered to be the best roller coaster in the continent of Africa, and it's in what's easily the best theme park in Africa. It's a very unique ride because it was manufactured by Giovanola of all companies, yet its track style and layout looks like it was done by B&M. The way I see it, Anaconda is like a larger scale Batman clone with an even longer train. I'd absolutely love to get down to South Africa and try this thing out at some point. Number 8, Aftershock at Silverwood in Idaho. Ever since I took my first rides on this coaster, I've absolutely loved the giant inverted boomerang model. Aftershock takes the classic Vekoma boomerang layout and supersizes it. It's crazy intense, whippy, and relatively smooth as well. It's also an engineering marvel, and you'll see what I mean if you come out and ride this or any other giant inverted boomerang out there. Number 7, Monster at Adventureland in Iowa. One of the first coasters I thought of when the conversation of best green coasters came up was Monster. I'm an over-the-top Monster fanboy, and I think all of you watching should be too. This is far and away the best Gerstlauer in the country and one of the best period. It's got an amazing layout with hang time moments that I actually find enjoyable, some super snappy transitions, and it's glossy smooth, which isn't always the case with Gerstlauer. Also, take a look at it. That light green colorway is just perfect. Number 6, Junker at Powerland in Finland. Another Gerstlauer Infinity coaster makes the list, and this one is the sister ride to the aforementioned Monster. Rather than a vertical lift hill and beyond vertical drop, Junker has an uber intense launch which looks awesome. One of the elements it does share with Monster is the first of its kind finish loop, which is a sharp dive loop into an elongated vertical loop with loads of hang time. It's got the same trains with just a lap bar, and I'm guessing it tracks just as smooth as well. Number 5, Incredible Hulk at Universal's Islands of Adventure. This has got to be the most photogenic green coaster to make this list. Hulk has a gorgeous layout and gorgeous setting right along the water, and who doesn't enjoy taking pictures and videos of that iconic splashdown? This ride has a stupid intense first half with some terrific theming in the queue line and in the launch tunnel. I'm actually surprised Universal decided to build something so intense so early on. Number 4, Flucht von Novgorod at Hansapark in Germany. I feel like I've talked about both Gerstlauer coasters at Hansapark very frequently as of late, so I'll keep it short and to the point. This one, the first one we're talking about, is a Eurofighter and is called Flucht von Novgorod, otherwise known as Escape from Novgorod in English. It's got an amazing launch in pitch darkness, a beyond vertical drop in pitch darkness, several outdoor elements, and some elaborate theming as well. Then we've got number 3 in the same park, which is the Schwartes Cannon at Hansapark. This is pretty much the same story, except it's a supersized version. The Schwartes Cannon has a vertical lift hill and drop instead of the opening launch of Flucht von Novgorod. It was built in the inside of this architecturally stunning fortress that then leads into an outdoor blitz of insane elements. Frankly, it's amazing that Cannon only ranks at 3 on this list because it's one of the best coasters in the world in my opinion. Number 2, Conda at Walibi, Belgium. This is what I think most people would consider to be the best green coaster, if not the Schwartes Cannon. Conda opened in 2021 and is one of the best Intamin coasters ever built. It has an amazing first half with large-scale elements and the world's only non-inverting Cobra roll. Then you transition into a second half filled to the brim with low-to-the-ground bunny hills and S-bends. It's an absolutely amazing ride and a very well-balanced experience from start to end. I don't expect many of you to agree with my number 1 green coaster, but if you've watched my videos for a while, you know I'm a massive fan of King to Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure. While yes, Conda and the Schwartes Cannon might be an overall better package, there's nothing else in the world like King to Ka, especially now that Top Thrill Dragster is being renovated into a different ride. Frankly, I don't think this coaster gets anywhere near enough love as it should, which is odd considering it's the tallest and second fastest coaster in the world. Its opening launch is now my favorite element on any ride in the world since Dragsters has now been removed. It's a rush launching up to 128 miles per hour and then being thrown into a 456-foot top hat. Say what you want about the restraints and roughness, but if you ride this thing in the front row, it's one of the best experiences you can get on any coaster. And for the sake of this video, it's the best on any green coaster. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. It would mean the world if you could leave a like and subscribe to Coaster Dash for more content like this in the future. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys.
It's St. Patrick's Day.
Look, I know. It's St. Patrick's Day, right? If people don't wear green, they get pinched.
Yes, right.
Yeah, only one problem. The little girl you pinched, Kellyanne Barlow, she was wearing green socks.